Hello, good morning everybody. My name is Anne Bland and I come from Uusia network, and I would like to introduce our panelists. We have 4 excellent and interesting investors here, starting with Ruzgar Barisik.
Hi there.
From World Bank's International Finance Corporation. Very warm welcome. And then we have Nadia Sood from Impact Investment Partners. Welcome to you.
Good morning.
And then we have Tom Adams from Acumen.
Morning.
Good morning. And finally, but not least, we have Charmaine Padayachy from Omidyar network.
Hi.
Warm welcome to everybody. And we are going to talk about social finance, social impact investment, impact investments. It seems that a dear child has many names. And in the world we are seeing at the moment that regardless of the definitions, there is a trend where people want to see more good done with the money. It's not anymore enough that 2% of the population gets richer and we get more lucrative exits, but actually we will want to change the world, people's lives, and save the planet with the money that is going around. And actually people deserve, and planet deserves better. In terms of this panel, I would like to introduce the idea that John Elkington already in the 90s introduced, which is the triple bottom line. It's not enough anymore to have a figure under the bottom line, but actually we will need 3 different lines. We need the one for the social, one for the financial, and one for the ecological bottom line. And this is the idea about people, planet, and profit, which takes us into one of the main ingredients of the impact ecosystem, which is social impact measurement. And one of the ways of looking at that is, without going into the nitty-gritty of technical side of things, is to look at it through storytelling. And stories are the ways in which we inspire people and make people to act to actually change the world. And I would like to put a challenge to you, our dear panelists today, to give your account on what your money actually does in the world through stories and narratives. And because we are pushed with time, I would like to limit your account for 3 minutes each. And Ruzgar, your company actually is one of the biggest global investors in corporate world. $18 billion this year only. So what do you actually do with that money? What is the story of impact that your company does?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me and having us. Let me speak to something that is close to my day-to-day work instead of my larger organization, the stuff that I feel passionate about. I am part of a venture capital team that's the investment arm of the World Bank. So when we think about impact, there are really 2 things that maybe I'd like to leave you with. We focus on technology and emerging markets. And the stuff that really gets us excited is where we are testing out unproven models in these markets in order to have an impact. And maybe I'll tell you 2 quick stories in the short time that we have. We invested in and we're supporting an exciting educational company in Africa. And this company has set itself some very lofty goals. And they're delivering them. And let me just give you the example. They're looking to provide education, primary education to children on a full-time basis, K through 12, for $6 a month. So they're trying to appeal really to the bottom of the pyramid. And they're not trying to do this with 100 or 1,000 children. They now have 400 schools serving 80,000 children. The only way this works sustainably is if you use technology. And it is an unproven model, but it is one that's exciting. And our co-investors, Charmaine and Omidyar, are in this deal as well. And as we support a company like this, we're trying to really bring not just the traditional venture capital approach, but also the full resources of the World Bank to play in helping a company like this. And a second example I'd like to give in the brief time that we have is, today we're launching a program, again, an untested model called Tech Emerge. And I would invite all of you to join us at 12:30 at the engine room, where what we're looking to do is really to identify the top and leading healthcare technologies around the world, take those ones that are appropriate for India, one of the most challenging, biggest but most challenging low-cost markets in the world, and introduce these technologies to leading healthcare providers, hospitals, laboratories, clinics, who will adopt these technologies and use them for patient care. And it's a model that we're testing that is unproven because no one has done it before. We don't know how soon it can become sustainable, but it excites us because of the impact that we think we'll see on the ground.
Thank you very much. The vision is very important. But looking at Nadia, your company, you say on your website that you have a pragmatic approach. So how do you deliver outcomes? What is the story of impact there? You want to get your hands dirty yourself.
We do, so thank you very much for having me. I wanted to spend my 3 minutes talking about 3 ways in which I've been involved and deeply moved by the way that money can have an impact. I'm going to tell you 3 stories of 3 different investments. So at the very early stage, we like to partner with companies and help them take a concept, develop it into something that they can commercialize. And we have one very exciting example in our portfolio called 3C. They have a unique technology. They've developed a hand sanitizer. It doesn't have any alcohol in it. It can be delivered in a hand sanitizer that makes your hands feel very soft and smell nice, and it has huge applications for global public health. It's a product that can be scaled, sold at a cheap price, and integrated into all sorts of resource-constrained situations. The way this company is going to scale its business is by delivering a commercially viable product, and that way they'll be able to reach millions of people instead of just a small number. So there's a way that a small amount of money with the right partners can help you scale an idea to make it really big. The second example I want to give you is a later stage company, which is also in our portfolio, called GestureTech. This is a company that's already made its mark. The founder was one of the founders of virtual reality. He has several successful businesses behind him, and he's discovered a way of using this technology of gamification to deliver rehabilitative health. But what's different about this is that it's fun. It engages people in a way that they can't be engaged in any other manner or through any other rehabilitation. It gives them great physical results. They enjoy it. But it's also delivered at an affordable price. So it, again, can be integrated globally into very many different clinics, situations, hospitals. And we're helping this company to now take this established technology and move it into new markets and find new applications like at-home use. The third example I just want to really briefly touch upon is something that we do within our firm is to find market gaps, see where technology can help you address a very big systemic problem, and build a company around that. So we started a company called Lendinable, and its purpose really is to fix the data asymmetry that exists in emerging markets that prevents lenders from lending to small, exciting new businesses. We're helping that company to grow so that it really can have a global footprint. And why that's exciting to me, and I think probably this reflects the views of all the panelists, is that there's a way of taking the money that you invest, turning it into a commercially viable proposition that then has the potential to touch millions of small to medium-sized enterprises. And we all know that that's where jobs come from. That's who employs women. That's who makes the GDP grow. And the combination of the investment capital and the technology means you reach so many more lives. So,
excellent.
And we're doing a little investor table later today, too. So come and visit us if you have any great companies you want to talk about.
Excellent. So thank you very much. That's very inspirational. So we've got the vision, we have the new products, we have the scaling up. Now, Tom, Acumen is very famous for its storytelling qualities. Without any pressure, please tell your best story.
Thank you very much. So what does it take for a farmer in Kenya who is living on less than $2 a day to break a cycle of intergenerational poverty? Well, there are 2 main pathways out of poverty for that farmer. There is a productivity pathway where they increase the yield of their production, earn more revenue, and hopefully run a more profitable smallholder farm. Or there is a wealth pathway where they get greater assets And in a climate of greater variability of shocks because of changing prices on international markets and climate changes, they have greater assets with which to weather those shocks. And that's why when Acumen invests in a company like Juhudi Kilimo, which provides agricultural asset financing to smallholder farmers in a group setting, so you encourage the community self-regulation, this allows a farmer like Cynthia, who first borrows to get a cow that can increase the yield of her dairy production by somewhere in the region of 2/3. But what's really exciting about that impact is that she takes the loan, and we see lots of people paying back quicker, and that she can then take a second and a third loan. So that people who work with Juhudi Kilimo over a period of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, what they're doing is building several assets. So she starts with a cow, she moves on to a water pump, and then she starts to get a small flock of chickens. And it's these things that are increasing the revenue of this smallholder farm and also providing her assets so that she can, over a period of time, sustainably work her, with a hell of a lot of hard work her way to out of that $2 a day threshold and out of poverty. And so it's companies like Juhudi Kilimo that Acumen look for that can help farmers in these multiple ways, because there is no silver bullet for agriculture working your way out, and can provide a better livelihood for folks like Cynthia.
Thank you very much. So a lot of also trial and error and seeing what actually works, what produces those outcomes. Charmaine, your website says that you deliver positive returns. What does that mean? What is your story of impact?
Thanks, Anne. I think we at Omidyar Network are a bit of a hybrid model, investing for profit, but largely for impact. And we call out, our main motto is a world of positive returns, and it's returns in every possible way, from financial to non-financial, tangible and intangible. The best way to illustrate it is, once again, by telling a story. We are based in Johannesburg, and anyone who knows South Africa will understand, as it is in most other emerging markets, there's a huge gap between rich and poor. We've got large numbers of informal settlements, townships that are rife with, human issues around drug abuse, alcohol abuse, poverty, child neglect, single mom families. A lot of these communities have lost hope, which means it becomes a downward spiral. We at Omidyar Network, we've invested in an organization based in the Western Cape, in Cape Town, that is set within the community, within a damaged community, for the community. And what their goal is to basically provide education to people living in these communities, most of whom have left school at very young ages to be able to support their families. Provide education on a part-time basis in everything ranging from flower arranging to photography to horticulture. So really basic carpentry, plumbing, so really basic core skills that will enable them to firstly empower them, give them confidence, give them hope that they are able to actually do something, take them out of those lives of drug abuse and alcoholism, and actually turn this education into entrepreneurial opportunities. And we have seen so many of these success stories where we've had former gangsters starting their own companies, their own little businesses within these communities, employing others. People who would otherwise maybe not have been alive due to drug and alcoholism that are now, starting a little business, employing others, and really driving hope through these damaged communities. And it's amazing what hope can do. It becomes viral. And over time, more and more people want to become part of this. And it is a paid back model. People who were part of the program come back, volunteer, give their time, in that way just spreading it even further. The other thing that they do really great is that it's amazing the wonderful ideas and business concepts that come out of the community themselves. They help to convert these ideas into sustainable business models by providing an incubator. and providing support, in order to develop these developers support, mentors, business support, so they can develop these ideas into businesses and incubate it up to a point where the business is ripe for external investment. So, and then they put it out there and try and raise funding. So you've got really good, other than small entrepreneurship coming out of it, you've got businesses that are started in these communities that no one really cares about. And it's been absolutely empowering, inspiring, humbling for us at Omidyar Network to see the turnaround and the change in people's lives. It's been, I mean, if anything, the financial return is there, it's measurable, but it doesn't give you the same personal satisfaction and joy in seeing people's lives just impacted for the better and seeing hope being spread in communities that are otherwise hopeless.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. So actually, we can see now that impact investment can tackle the most vicious problems, but it has to have that sort of pragmatic, skill-based entrepreneurship that takes it sustainably forward. Thank you very much. Very exciting, excellent stories. I would like to move forward a little bit tongue on the cheek, because we are obviously, Slush is all about pitching. But this time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to hear the investors pitching to the audience. I would actually applaud you being so brave, being in a sort of reversed Dragon's Den hot seat. So thank you very much for that already in advance. So we actually have, you've been ever so good with your 3 minutes. So instead of giving you 1 minute elevator pitch, I think you can deserve 1.5 minutes. So, Ruzgar, up to you now. Why is your money better than the other 3 people's money? Why would these people come to you? Over to you.
So I wish it was a Dragon's Den. I feel like we're more in the teddy bear's corner here. And the reason I'm saying that is, for those impact investment opportunities, especially those where the commercial returns are at most risk, I feel we collaborate more than we compete. And the way our money is different, money is fungible, is maybe some of the support and some of the resources that we bring to play. And in our case, what that means is we tend to have a global presence. And with that global presence in 100 offices around the world, we engage meaningfully at the governmental level, at the industrial level, and with NGOs on the ground. So when we support, and I'm coming back to the theme I gave you earlier, when we look at technology for emerging markets, at innovation and entrepreneurship, when we support these entrepreneurs beyond our initial investment, what we really try to do is surround them with an ecosystem where we reach out to other stakeholders and get them to change their way of thinking. Going back to an earlier example, if you're launching a private school network in Africa, even if you're not relying on the government for funding, you do need to coordinate with them. You do need the approvals. You do need to bring these stakeholders to the table. And I think that's one area where we try to complement others who are investing with us or those that we are investing with.
Okay, thank you. Very good point. Cooperation, not competition. But still, I will push you. Why is your money, Nadia, better?
This is a tricky one, and I also actually teach a class on how to pitch.
Okay,
so
excellent.
Let's see if I can let's see if I can practice what I preach. I don't think our money is better. I think it's different. Like Rizwan said, we all occupy a different space in the ecosystem, I suppose. But why I think IIP is different is that we really do 3 things. We are ourselves, the whole team is made up of serial entrepreneurs we've built 5 businesses, exited them. We've also been professional investors for a long time through venture capital and private equity. So we've sat on both sides of the equation, and we really understand the pain and challenge of being an entrepreneur. My own firm is a startup, it's only 5 years old. But we've also been investors, so we know how to help entrepreneurs discuss things with investors, make the right choices for themselves. But what makes us particularly unusual, I think, as an investment management firm is that we do 2 other things. We advise a lot of other investors on how they should work with entrepreneurs, how they should build portfolios, so we can bring all of that knowledge into everything we do with the companies we invest in. We also build our own companies, incubate them, and launch them. So we're investors, but at the same time, we continue to be entrepreneurs. And the last thing we do that's quite unusual is that we normally act as a partner, and that our name, Impact Investment Partners, really means that, in that we typically take an operating role in the companies that we invest into, which means that we really roll up our sleeves. We say, okay, you need to go into this market. We're going to set up a company with you and help you do that. So I think that's what makes us a bit different. We also bring a lot of fun and passion and rigor to the table. And I think we have our whole heart and soul and also our own money in the process.
Okay.
That's such a great answer. I wish I could add my name to the bottom of that.
Excellent. So cooperation and also rolling up your sleeves and doing the talk, walking the talk as well. And partnership. Okay, Tom, over to you.
Okay. Well, I haven't been to Nadia's lessons, so I haven't got 3. I've only got 2, which is probably my first failing for a pitch.
No, I might
There's
have
always
only
three.
had too many.
So the two things that I think stand out Acumen as an investor is, one, again, the type of capital we invest. We invest something that we call patient capital, which means that we plan to stay with you as an investee for a long period of time. Building the businesses that we work with takes a lot of patience. These markets are incredibly difficult, and the sorts of people you're trying to serve are folks that may be consuming a good for the very, very first time, and they're changing a practice, say, of farming for the first time. So it takes a long, long time to build these companies, and our capital is patient. We stay with you for several years and hopefully through multiple rounds. The second reason is that in building those companies, we provide a lot of post-investment support. And the area of work that I lead is around the power of data to help our companies. And in these markets, it's very, very difficult to do one fundamental thing, which is talk to your customers, to listen to them about how they're experiencing your product, especially when they're far-flung and remote, and especially if you want to talk to them to understand the sort of social impact you're creating. So we have an approach called Lean Data, which uses a lot of really interesting technologies to shrink the gap between our companies and their customers so they can get better customer insights about how their products are being sold to grow their company, but also about the social impact that they're creating. And in that way, we can build better, bigger, and more impactful companies.
Excellent, thank you. So it's about data and measurement, but it's also not just money. It's also working with your clients and having the other support as well.
Hi.
Charmaine.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, I agree with everything everyone else has said. I mean, it's amazing how much you can do besides financial capital for the types of companies we work with. I think at Omidyar Network, or what I like about what we do, is, we are called the network for a reason. We are a global organization, and we've got hundreds of organizations or companies around the world that we are supporting, for the last sort of 7 to 10 years, using the hybrid model of impact and profit. We open up the network to our investees. We encourage cross-collaboration, cross-learnings, synergies, so that we don't just focus on one organization. We try and spread it across all 800 organizations or so across the world. So we really are a network, and we leverage the power of the network in order to build our companies into more sustainable, better businesses. The other thing at Omidyar Network is that we really see ourselves as frontier investors. We've recently released a report called Frontier Capital. I think we've been going into markets for the last 7 years that most other non-African investors or non-Indian investors have been struggling with or are still fearful about. So we started investing in India like almost a decade ago, where it was still venture capital was very early stage. People didn't really understand it. The same in Africa, the same in Latin America, the same in Southeast Asia. We're making investments in Burma, Myanmar, areas where, VC is really very early stage. There aren't many around. So we try to go into markets that are very underdeveloped from a VC ecosystem and start making investments so that we can spread the word and get more venture capital into these markets, because that's what's needed to help these businesses grow, else they just disappear. So, it's the power of the network. It's about helping to build out a venture capital and a startup ecosystem in frontier markets.
Frontier markets, excellent. Yeah. I think that's a very good way of leaving this panel. Few thoughts on, though. It seems that we are seeing more and more this kind of patient capital idea where investors are happy to wait for their return. And that sort of indicates and kind of aligns well with the emergence of the social capitalism or more conscious capitalism that we are seeing. And I think that there obviously is a saying that money makes the world go round, and we are talking about money in these 2 days quite a bit. But I would like to ask you 2 questions with regards to money. First of all, we have to ask ourselves how that money was accrued. Is it while the money was made, how many sweatshops collapsed on people, or how many rivers and waterways got polluted in terms of looking at ethical impact and sustainability and morals, and also how that money is spent. We've been talking about that, how you spent your money. It's not just making the most richest people on earth more rich, but it's actually looking at how we can change the world for better. Money is not good, it's not bad, it's a tool to have that big change. And I would like to invite you to thank these people who are making that big change, and hopefully we will hear, and I'm sure we will hear your stories about what you're going to do, either with technology or with other social ways to make the better world for people and the planet and making profit at the same time. So thank you, everybody, and please thank our panelists.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nat.